beautiful designs, smooth animations, and great performance. To deliver on this, developers need to create new features faster than ever without compromising on quality or performance. That's why we built Flutter. Flutter is Google's mobile UI framework that provides a fast and expressive way for developers to build native apps on both iOS and Android. This is because apps and interfaces made with Flutter are built from a single codebase, compiled directly to native ARM code, use the GPU, and can access platform APIs and services. Here are 3 ways that Flutter will help you on day 1. Flutter is engineered for high developer velocity. Stateful hot reload allows you to change your code and see it come to life in less than a second without losing the state of the app. Flutter also ships with a rich set of customizable widgets, all built from our modern reactive framework. Plus, Flutter integrates with popular development tools, which means you can get started quickly with the editor or IDE you already know and love. Flutter moves the widgets, rendering, animation, and gestures into the framework to give you complete control over every pixel on the screen. This means you have flexibility to build custom designs. Flutter apps follow platform conventions and interface details such as scrolling, navigation, icons, fonts, and more. This is why apps built with Flutter are featured on both the App Store and Google Play Store. Flutter is great for developers both new and experienced in mobile. If you're new to mobile, Flutter gives you a fast, fun, and modern way to deliver native apps. If you're an experienced mobile developer, you can add Flutter to your existing workflows and tools to build new expressive UIs. Flutter is free and open source and used by developers and organizations around the world, including enterprise, agencies, and startups. Visit flutter.io to get started today. We can't wait to see what you build. Mobile users expect their apps to have beautiful designs, smooth animations, and great performance. To deliver on this, developers need to create new features faster than ever without compromising on quality or performance. That's why we built Flutter. Flutter is Google's mobile UI framework that provides a fast and expressive way for developers to build native apps on both iOS and Android. This is because apps and interfaces made with Flutter are built from a single codebase, compiled directly to native ARM code, use the GPU, and can access platform APIs and services. Here are 3 ways that Flutter will help you on day 1. Flutter is engineered for high developer velocity. Stateful hot reload allows you to change your code and see it come to life in less than a second without losing the state of the app. Flutter also ships with a rich set of customizable widgets, all built from our modern reactive framework. Plus, Flutter integrates with popular development tools, which means you can get started quickly with the editor or IDE you already know and love. Flutter moves the widgets, rendering, animation, and gestures into the framework to give you complete control over every pixel on the screen. This means you have flexibility to build custom designs. Flutter apps follow platform conventions and interface details such as scrolling, navigation, icons, fonts, and more. This is why apps built with Flutter are featured on both the App Store and Google Play Store. Flutter is great for developers both new and experienced in mobile. If you're new to mobile, Flutter gives you a fast, fun, and modern way to deliver native apps. If you're an experienced mobile developer, you can add Flutter to your existing workflows and tools to build new expressive UIs. Flutter is free and open source and used by developers and organizations around the world, including enterprise, agencies, and startups. Visit flutter.io to get started today. We can't wait to see what you build. Mobile users expect their apps to have beautiful designs, smooth animations, and great performance. To deliver on this, developers need to create new features faster than ever without compromising on quality or performance. That's why we built Flutter. Flutter is Google's mobile UI framework that provides a fast and expressive way for developers to build native apps on both iOS and Android. This is because apps and interfaces made with Flutter are built from a single codebase, compiled directly to native ARM code, use the GPU, and can access platform APIs and services. Here are 3 ways that Flutter will help you on day 1. Flutter is engineered for high developer velocity. Stateful hot reload allows you to change your code and see it come to life in less than a second without losing the state of the app. Flutter also ships with a rich set of customizable widgets, all built from our modern reactive framework. Plus, Flutter integrates with popular development tools, which means you can get started quickly with the editor or IDE you already know and love. Flutter moves the widgets, rendering, animation, and gestures into the framework to give you complete control over every pixel on the screen. This means you have flexibility to build custom designs. Flutter apps follow platform conventions and interface details such as scrolling, navigation, icons, fonts, and more. This is why apps built with Flutter are featured on both the App Store and Google Play Store. Flutter is great for developers both new and experienced in mobile. If you're new to mobile, Flutter gives you a fast, fun, and modern way to deliver native apps. If you're an experienced mobile developer, you can add Flutter to your existing workflows and tools to build new expressive UIs. Flutter is free and open source and used by developers and organizations around the world, including enterprise, agencies, and startups. Visit flutter.io to get started today. We can't wait to see what you build. Mobile users expect their apps to have beautiful designs, smooth animations, and great performance. To deliver on this, developers need to create new features faster than ever without compromising on quality or performance. That's why we built Flutter. Flutter is Google's mobile UI framework that provides a fast and expressive way for developers to build native apps on both iOS and Android. This is because apps and interfaces made with Flutter are built from a single codebase, compiled directly to native ARM code, use the GPU, and can access platform APIs and services. Here are 3 ways that Flutter will help you on day 1. Flutter is engineered for high developer velocity. Stateful hot reload allows you to change your code and see it come to life in less than a second without losing the state of the app. Flutter also ships with a rich set of customizable widgets, all built from our modern reactive framework. Plus, Flutter integrates with popular development tools, which means you can get started quickly with the editor or IDE you already know and love. Flutter moves the widgets, rendering, animation, and gestures into the framework to give you complete control over every pixel on the screen. This means you have flexibility to build custom designs. Flutter apps follow platform conventions and interface details such as scrolling, navigation, icons, fonts, and more. This is why way to deliver native apps. If you're an experienced mobile developer, you can add Flutter to your existing workflows and tools to build new expressive UIs. Flutter is free and open source and used by developers and organizations around the world. That's why we built Flutter. Flutter is Google's mobile UI framework that provides a fast and expressive way for developers to build native apps on both iOS and Android. This is because apps and interfaces made with Flutter are built from a single codebase, compiled directly to native ARM code, use the GPU, and can access platform APIs and services. Here are 3 ways that Flutter will help you on day 1. Flutter is engineered for high developer velocity. Stateful hot reload allows you to change your code and see it come to life in less than a second without losing the state of the app. Flutter also ships with a rich set of customizable widgets, all built from our modern reactive framework. Plus, Flutter integrates with popular development tools, which means you can get started quickly with the editor or IDE you already know and love. Flutter moves the widgets, rendering, animation, and gestures into the framework to give you complete control over every pixel on the screen. This means you have flexibility to build custom designs. Flutter apps follow platform conventions and interface details such as scrolling, navigation, icons, fonts, and more. This is why apps built with Flutter are featured on both the App Store and Google Play Store. Flutter is great for developers both new and experienced in mobile. If you're new to mobile, Flutter gives you a fast, fun, and modern way to deliver native apps. If you're an experienced mobile developer, you can add Flutter to your existing workflows and tools to builders expect their apps to have beautiful designs, smooth animations, and great performance. To deliver on this, developers need to create new features faster than ever without compromising on quality or performance. That's why we built Flutter. Flutter is Google's mobile UI framework that provides a fast and expressive way for developers to build native apps on both iOS and Android. This is because apps and Hi, I'm Martin McGinnis from the Flutter team. In this video, I'm going to do a single codebase without compromising on quality, speed, or performance. Let's take a look at how this is possible itself, rather than letting the platform do so. This means your app is super fast and responsive. Let's look at how this contrasts with other ways to build for different platforms. One option is to build a separate app for each platform, which often involves a separate team for each codebase. In this system, your code can directly call the built-in platform UI elements, but each codebase will be in a different native language, and super fast and responsive, and can ways to build for different language. And
Hello all, welcome to Flutter Zero to Hero, brought to you by Club of SASTRA. Before I start, I'd like to quickly thank Google Developers India and all the others who helped us in promoting this event, and thanks to you guys for the overwhelming response in the registration forms. So without any further ado, we'll get started. So Flutter, what are we going to do today? We'll live app. So we are going to build a simple note-taking app, export it to Android and web, and host it on GitHub live. So let's look at what we are talking about. So one second, just give me a minute. Yeah. So this is what I'm talking about. So we are going to build a simple note-taking app which is backed by Firestore, of course, Cloud Firestore, and we'll look at it later in the session 2. So yeah, this is the app that we're going to build. We can add new note, add description. Once we click on add note, it will go ahead and add note. It's actually at the last, so we cannot see. So yeah, so we can go ahead and add note. So this is what we are going to build. So let's get started. Flutter. So why Flutter? So I have shared you a link to the video for those who have registered in the mail to watch a video about Flutter. So in that video, the Martin discusses all the advantages about Flutter, but simply put, it's easy to learn, is easier faster for development with the features like hot reload, and it is cross-platform. That is, you can build an app with that single code base. You can export it to Android, web, Mac OS, Windows, Linux, Chrome OS, and Fuchsia, which Google is building right now. So yeah, it is better than the other alternatives like React or the other alternatives, which has a bridge between the code and the native code, your app's code and the native code. So what Flutter does is it uses C++ Flutter engine, namely Skia, to render out all the UI so that however complex your app is, whatever your animations you are using, it still renders it beautifully at 60 FPS without any problem in all. That's what we are going to do at the first part of the session, and later on we'll start building simple UIs. So Dart language is very easy to learn, and it has a lot of features. So let's get started. So you can use something called Dartpad that Google provides. Again, link in the description. So you can use this Dartpad to try code. You can run Dart code and Flutter code. So don't worry if you have not installed Android Studio, VS Code, or whatever. But the problem is you cannot work with multiple files in Dartpad. You can work with only single file. So it will be easier if you use IDEs, local IDEs. So yeah, let's get started with Dart. So yeah, as I said, Dart is pretty similar to C or C++. We start with void main. All the executions, both in Flutter and Dart, start with. Okay, before starting, let me make this clear. Flutter is a framework. Dart is a language. So Flutter is built with the language called Dart. Okay, got it? Done. So yeah, void main. As always, we'll start by printing hello world. Yeah, so as you can see in Dart, you can give strings in both double quotes and single quotes. And let's do A equal to B equal to 3, B equal to 10, print A plus B. If you're already into coding, I know this is all a bit boring, but please bear with me. In just a few minutes, we'll get into the complex features, advanced features of Dart, and we'll start building the real apps. Okay, so I'll be quickly rushing through this. So guys, this is the most crucial session. So please listen this carefully and try to follow. You can code along if you want, but please make sure you don't miss any points. Okay. And after this Dart part of this session, I'll give you a small break to try out all these whatever you have learned, so you can try out in that break. So now try to listen. So sum equals a plus b dot string. With a plus b, it will evaluate the expression and convert it to string, and there you have the output. But there is something called string interpolation in Dart, which is really important, which comes really handy when you are debugging any apps, when you have to print values, so multiple values inside strings. It's nothing but injecting your variables or Dart code inside of strings. How do you do that? Simple. Sum equals dollar, let's do int sum equals a plus b sum. Right. So what this does is, it tells the compiler, the Dart compiler, that whatever following the dollar sign is a variable. Okay, so the cool thing, we can also add expressions to dollar of within curly braces the expression. So it will evaluate the expression and then convert it to string. So this is really handy, like sum of a and b equal to sum of a plus b. There you have it. So that is string interpolation, and we have list. We have set, we have map, and list in Dart. We use square brackets as an array. We don't have an array as such in Dart, so we use list. So let's print a. The cool thing is, you can add characters, strings, double, whatever in the list. What if you want to shows the error? So let's make it all int. Yeah, fine. So we printed that. So next up, you have a lot of functions that come with list, like a dot add, 3 possible functions that you can call on us. So as you can see, there is a variety of functions. Is a function a variable that says it is, if it is empty, it's simple. So let's go ahead and define our own function plus, and let's print hello world there, and obvious, and this is the simple function, and we are going to add parameters to it. So let's do string, let's yeah, let's do print a plus b. You don't have to do that. Two types of parameters in for a function in Dart. One is named parameters, and another is position parameters. So what we are using, you pass all the arguments in that order, in that order that is defined in the function. So let's say there is a function b is, so this need not to be in order, this can be in any order, like I can give b first and then a, or a first and then b. Another thing is, named parameters are not mandatory to pass by default, they are optional. So even if the user doesn't pass a certain argument, it doesn't throw any. I'll show you a quick way. It's really simple trick to resolve that for this. Yeah, 10. So position parameter followed by multiple, or everything is clear now. There are two types of parameters, positioned and named. Positioned parameters are mandatory to pass, named parameters are optional by default. So let's look at the quick trick to make named parameters at required before annotation is in the Flutter package, Flutter material package. So let's go ahead and import that. The compiler is telling me the parameter B is required. So that's how you make an optional parameter mandatory to pass. So fine, we are done with functions, we are done with collections, we are done with string interpolation, and next up classes. And with this we are done with Dart, or with the this is the last part of this session. So with this we are done with Dart. After this we will have a small 15 minutes break, during which we'll go through the, you will try out all the, let's take this as an example. Okay, so here we have there is no new keyword required, it's optional, you can put it, but it's totally optional in Dart. So let's pass title and description and print and the title. It works. Okay, I spelled it wrong. Fine. Still it works. End of title. Yeah. Fine. So, what are the other types of constructors that we have in Dart? Simple. There's a really simple technique in Dart. In the constructor, if you do this dot title and this dot DSC, it will automatically substitute the first parameter to title and second parameter, and then assign it to the variables. Dart will automatically do it for you. It works. Title. So under this, whenever let's say you have to use a class for that is that you have imported from another library. You don't know what are the parameters to pass, so you just call the constructor and do control plus space. It will tell you what are all the parameters available to pass, and that means you don't need to even learn how that library or package works. So you can directly start working on it. Let's pass the title, DSC description, and run. It works. Again, we can make this required too. That's required. We have named constructors in Dart. That means, let's say you have multiple constructors, and you have to make the user clear that which is what. Like this constructor takes in two separate strings. Let's make a constructor that takes in a list of string, and assign the first element of string, title in the second too. Yeah, here it says that the default constructor is already defined. So what we do is, to make the we just add a name to the constructor. So note dot from list, title, description. So yeah, So node dot from list calls this particular constructor and takes in list of string. So these are named constructors. You define them by adding a name after the class name. So I guess you get the point. So that is all about Dart. Once you understand this, you are good to go with Flutter. Flutter is a piece of cake if you have really understood this. So go through this and try to create your own functions, your own classes, and if you have any queries, just put it in the live chat and I'll be answering this. You have 5 minutes. I will get back here by 12:07, and meanwhile I'll be looking at the live chat, and who are familiar with Dart will get started with Flutter. Okay, yeah, so go ahead and try your different stuff. We'll get back here at 12:07. 12:10.
Hi, I'm Martin McGinnis from the Flutter team. In this video, I'm going to discuss what goes on under the hood when you create apps with Flutter and how it's different from other approaches. Nowadays, many apps need to run on multiple platforms like iOS, Android, and the web. That's why Google made Flutter, our UI toolkit to build beautiful native apps from a single codebase without compromising on quality, speed, or performance. It can appear on the device screen and access to events like finger taps and to services like the camera and geolocation. Let's look at how this contrasts with other ways to build for different platforms. One option is to build a separate app for each platform, which often involves a separate team for each.
So hey guys, we're back, and I have shared the link to the live chat code in the description, so you can open that. If you won't have any kind of buffer in that stream, so I'll share a link to the chat room too. Open this link and you will be able to see my code directly without any lag or buffer. Okay, so let's get started, I guess. So let's start with Flutter. As you can see, it all starts with, okay, how do you create a Flutter app? You just run Flutter create and the name of your app, and the Flutter will create a sample app for you just like this. And here I'm using an emulator to my code. You can use your web or you can use your real device, edit it in your editor. So here I'm building it. It'll take a couple of minutes or couple of seconds. Yeah, so as you can see, the execution starts from the main, even in Flutter. So here we are doing run app of main app. You don't need to worry about all this boilerplate code. You don't have to type it anytime. So the Flutter will generate those for you. So you just go ahead and edit just your part. So we'll edit this. Okay, before that, let's just wait for emulator. So here's the emulator. This is a pretty simple app that has a floating action button, an app bar, center widget, and 2 text. So when you when you hit the floating action button, it will increment the counter by 1. This is a pretty basic app, simple app, but it covers a lot of basics. So let's see what it covers. First off, Flutter, everything in Flutter is a widget. Be it the app bar, the text, here we have centered the text, right? So that we have a widget for that. We have widget to arrange elements vertically, as in here we have a widget for floating action button. We have a widget for icon. We have a widget to stream data from a backend to front end. We have widgets for animation. We have widgets for spacing. There are lots and lots and lots of widgets in Flutter, and in fact the official showcase page of Flutter is called itsallwidgets.com. Yeah, that's funny. So yeah, everything is a widget, and your entire app is just a tree of widgets. You have a parent and it will have one or more children. So in this case we have an app in that we have multiple children. The first child is app bar, and the app bar has a child of text, and all these can be seen in the Flutter outline. So main is calling my app and my app is calling build. The build function is what renders the UI. So build function calls material app, which calls my home page, which calls the scaffold, and scaffold is nothing but your entire page. Material app is like your entire app, but the scaffold is a single page in your app. So that scaffold contains 3 children. The first is app bar, and app bar contains a text. The second is center, and center contains a column. Column is nothing but it will arrange its children in a vertical manner. If you call and yeah, as you guessed it, row will arrange its children in horizontal manner. And we have floating action button, which is an icon, as you can see. So yeah, your entire app is just a huge tree of widgets. And there are 2 types of widgets in Flutter. One is stateless widget and another is stateful widget. Stateless widgets are those which doesn't change over time. Like this app bar over here is stateless. It on clicking any button, this app bar will not change. And yeah, you get the point, right? It will not change on upon clicking upon user interaction. But stateful widgets are those which change on user interaction. Yeah, like this entire page is a stateful widget. So whenever you click on it, it will change the content of its screen. So how do you do stateful and stateless widget? Okay, there are a lot of comments. Okay, let's build our own app. We don't need to use that. Let's clear all these and all these, all of these too, and let's create a new app. Remember we had, I told you about the suggestions. So material app is a widget, also a constructor. So your execution starts from my app. My app is a stateless widget, and we are overriding build functions which takes in context and returns a widget. So widget is our app, and the context contains all the information about the app, like the theme, if it's in the dark mode or light mode, what is the size of the screen, and yeah, all the other informations like that. It will be pretty handy. I'll show you in the future. So in material app, let's do home. Home is the attribute or the parameter which takes in a widget and renders it. So let's pass scaffold to it. Scaffold is the widget, you guessed it. So it takes it arranges app bar, floating, it arranges a drawer, app bar, floating action button, all the cool stuff automatically. You don't have to place them at the top. Like for example, the floating action button has to stay at the corner, but you don't have to make sure it stays at the corner. Flutter fold. And we have drawers, and drawers are just menu bars. So you get the point. So scaffold also has a body. So remember I told you about hot reload. So whenever as soon as you type the code, you can see the reflection in the app. So we have a scaffold. Let's call a center widget. Center widget just centers your the child. Okay, so most of the widgets in Flutter has the parameter child. Okay, so center has child. Let's pass text to it, and text takes in one positional arguments. Positional arguments are simply an argument, normal argument. So we'll pass hello world. As I type, it is updated in the emulator as and when I type. So this is a pretty basic stateless widget. Okay, so we are going to make it stateful by adding a button. So how do you add a button? Let's add a button below hello world. So what do you do for that? You have to vertically arrange text and the button. So you have to use columns. So let's wrap the text with column and add a button. So there are two types of button: raised button and flat button. Raised button has color to it. On pressed, nothing. Child is a text that says click here. It's not centered. Why? The column takes as much as the space that the parent has. So let's do main axis size dot main axis dot min. One sec. Okay, main axis dot alignment main axis center. So and cross axis to center. So what this basically does is the main axis alignment in column, the main axis is vertical axis and the cross axis is horizontal axis. We are centering it in both the axes. So yeah, that's basically it. So what I'm trying to do here is when I click on the button, the text has to change to buy. Okay, for that we need to create another widget, our custom widget. So let's do extract widget. Let's call it home. So as soon as you give the extract widget, Flutter the VS Code creates a widget for you automatically. So yeah, it's pretty simple, and we are calling that widget here, and it is a state variable. This it's just boilerplate. So yeah, it again calls the build function, which takes in context, which returns a scaffold, which is the widget. Or yeah. So next step, the column. You have to make this stateful widget in order to change the text on clicking here. So how do you do that? Control dot convert to stateful widget. VS Code will automatically convert that to stateful widget for you, so you don't have to worry. So there are two, as you see, there are two classes. You don't have to worry about this, and this is the class you will be working on. In this class, you can see the build method. So we'll have a string that says hello world. And we'll use that, pass that string to the text. So what I want is, as soon as I click on the button, I want the string to change to buy. So I'll change hello to buy. But the problem is, when you click on that, it doesn't change to buy. Why? Because Flutter doesn't know that the variable has changed. You have to inform Flutter that I have changed the variable. Please rebuild the tree. So when you, for that, you have to call the set state and assign change the variable. Data of the variable. It informs Flutter and asks Flutter to rebuild the entire UI. This is called reactive programming. Whenever you change a variable with set state, Flutter calls set state. Let me look at the variables that have changed. Okay, this variable has changed, and here is what the variable is used. So let me rebuild that particular widget. So here, in case the text. So yeah, you can see that. Yeah, it's hello world here. As soon as click, it becomes buy. Okay. So you guys want to know how I added a column, right? It's pretty simple. I had a text at first which said hello world. What I did was just click on the text, control plus dot, and it will give you a lot of options, like wrap with another widget, wrap it in the center. If you give wrap it in the center, you can see that the hello world is centered, and wrap this with column, container, padding. We can give padding, we can give wrap it with the row, stream builder, or extract. You have a lot of options. So I clicked on wrap with column to add it to the column. So yeah, let's go back to where we left. Okay, this is where we left. Okay, upon clicking here, click here, it becomes buy. So this is all the basics that you want to know. about basis of UI that you have to know in Flutter. So if you are clear till this, you are good to go. You are really good to go, and yeah, you can build amazing apps. Okay, let's start building our app, the real app that we were talking about, this one. So let's look at the elements one by one and build them here. What is first element? The app bar. Okay, we'll add an app bar here. Okay, let's remove all these code. See, we have an app bar, so let's add app bar. App bar is app bar. Let's give title to the text of notes. Okay, notes, yeah. So yeah, we'll come to the color later. So notes, next we are having a bunch of cards. So let's create that are arranged in vertical manner. So let's go to the body, create a column which is used to arrange things in vertical manner. We have children. So children are let's create a card. So container is a really useful widget that you use all the time. Container is just a box for which we can specify a custom a required height, width, or the background color, the curvature of the corners as you've done here, the border radius, and yeah, we can do a lot of things with container. So as of now, let's add a color to it. Colors dot, let's do blue, yeah. But you cannot see it here because by default the container has no height and width. Let's give a height of 128. 128 and width of 500 maybe. Yeah, you can see that the let's make it T. Okay. You can see that there is this container here. Okay, there are two really important attributes for container that you use often. One is padding and another is margin. How they are different? Padding is the distance between the content of the container and the border of the container. So it's this distance. Okay, it's this distance. This is the border of the container and this is the content of the container. So this is padding, and the margin is the distance between the container itself and the other the widgets around it. So this is the margin. That distance is called margin. So let's go ahead and add some margin. It says we need to pass edge insets. So edge insets are pretty simple. It's just a method to add margins or padding to your widget. So let's do 16, and what's the output? Yeah, we have a margin of 16. And padding, we don't need to add padding right now. So yeah, let's the colors are teal and with opacity of 0.2, and let's add children. Again, the children of the card are arranged in vertical manner. So again, we have to use column. Let's do column children, add a text that says title, and again add a text that says description. Okay, let me teach you guys another thing. We have something called trailing commas in Dart, which is just that when you add a comma at the last of the list, any list, and click on format, which your IDE will do automatically, it will just arrange it beautifully in vertical manner. That's it. It has nothing to do with the output of the your code. It's just that to make your code looks clean. Okay. Yeah, we have title and description, and the problem is we have it in center, and we have to change the size, the boldness, and the color, everything. So let's start by adding padding. So the text is at the starting of the column, so we have to add padding to it. Padding, and yeah, again we lose 16. Yeah, you can see that there is a distance between the border and the content right now. So next, yeah, remember I said talk to you about the main axis alignment. Make it start, and cross axis alignment to start as well. So now let's go ahead and add the style to it. That is, we can start adding colors, the font size and stuff. So let's add a colors dot teal maybe, and let's make the size to 24. Yeah, you can see that it's reflected in the app. So yeah, let's do the same for the description too. Let's make it maybe a little bit smaller. Let's make the title bold. So we are going to add font weight dot bold. Okay, fine. Next up we are having a little corner. Okay, the height is fixed here, so let's remove the height, so it will take up as much as it wants. Okay, so we want the height of the container to contain only title and description, so it will take it automatically. So okay, so we cannot be adding all of this code again and again to create all this. So we are going to extract the content, make it into a new widget. So you do extract widget, and let's say note card, and yeah, VS Code will create a widget for you. Yeah, remember I said about the control plus a dot trick. Yeah, I use the same for this too. So yeah, you have the card. Let's add a border radius. How do you do that? You have something called box decoration in container. So box decoration contains all the properties like color, border radius, and the border itself, the shadow, gradient, image, shape. So we are going to add border radius dot circular of 16, let's say. Yeah, it's pretty fine. So we can call this widget again and again to add multiple note cards. So how do you do this? Dynamically, you have to add note to the list. So how do you do that? Yeah, we have something called bottom sheet here that we forgot. So let's go and add that. Add a bottom sheet, which is a property of scaffold. So bottom sheet of column, let's do container first, so that we can add padding to it, and child, which is a column, and children. We have two text inputs here, so let's do two text fields. We have two text fields. So let's do height. Remember, column always takes the maximum size. So let's do main axis dot min. Yeah, we have two text inputs here. Let's add hint to it. So you do that by doing adding the input decoration property, and input decoration hint, or you can do label or hint, whatever you want. Label text. I am doing label here. Label to title, and this label to description. Yeah. Fine. So you have them. Let's add padding to the container. Okay, for the where is the it's here. Padding edge inserts dot all of, let's say, 16. That should be fine. Yeah, it's fine. So let's add another button which actually adds the raised button. Of child text that says add note. Okay, what do we have here? Yeah, we have the button, we have the column going, we have the bottom sheet for the live preview after this session. So yeah, we have all these. So let's add the note. Actually, let's make the note card dynamic. How do you do that? Let's get two strings. String title final. Okay, let's delete all these. We don't need this. We just need a simple constructor. .DSC.
10 minutes.
So yeah, we'll have the title here. We'll have the description that we got here from the constructor. So yeah, let's go and initialize all this. It's all the same, but the code is more cleaner and dynamic. So let's go ahead and add the node actually. So what we can do for that is we can create a list of widgets. Let's say notes. Which contains nothing by default, and whenever you click on add button, we have to add one thing. Let's do notes. So whenever we click on the add button, we have to add a note card widget to this the title and description from these two text fields. How do you do that? Simple. Just create two strings, title and description, on change. On changing the title or that is on typing it, it will automatically store the value of that title text. We'll do the same with and pass those arguments. Fine. So let's see if it works. We have nothing here. We're adding title, SDF and QWERTY, add node. Yeah, it works. Wow. We have created a simple. Great. Let's wind up the session till this. although we have 20 more minutes, so I guess we can go ahead. So yeah, we have created a simple UI, and in the next session we are going to connect this with Firebase actually. That is, we are going to make that is, anybody can add notes to it, entire world can see. For example, let's create another instance of the same website. Okay. I'm fine. So I'll go ahead and delete this. You can see as soon as I delete here, it will be deleted here also. And yeah, let's some Firestore. So yeah, that's what we're going to do it right now. And before that, let's try building the same app that we have built right now for Chrome. So for that, you go and select Chrome, run it. Turn on the audio for you. Is it audible for the live share users? Okay, we have built the app, and let's do section. Yeah, that's my name. Add note. Yeah, we have added note there. So that's how the base more. Okay, let's start talking about Firestore. And once we have talked about Firestore, I guess it will be easier for us to start integrating Firestore with our app in the afternoon session. So what is a Firestore? That I'll tell whenever I do a workshop or any session. So this is really important. You you cannot expect anyone to teach you like this. Like, it happens rarely. So you have to learn it from the web, by googling, by searching the internet. So yeah, don't feel free to use feel free to use all these public forums like Stack Overflow and YouTube comments. If you have any doubts, you can contact me too. I don't have any issues. So yeah, let's see what Google says the Firebase is. Once again, yeah, just give me a minute. Let me turn on the desktop audio. Yeah.
Kind of app you're developing these days, there's a good chance you'll want to store your data in the cloud. Maybe that's because your users want to share their data with their friends for some exciting in-app collaboration. Or maybe it's just because they'll want to access their data from more than one device. But storing data in the cloud isn't quite as easy as it first looks. You have to set up your own servers to host the data and keep them up and running day and night. Data in ways that make sense to you, thanks to its powerful querying and fetching capabilities. Cloud Firestore works in near real time, automatically fetching changes from your database as they happen. Or you can request and fetch data manually. It's completely up to you. Cloud Firestore brings you the best of Google Cloud Platform's powerful database infrastructure, with features like multi-regional data replication.
So yeah, you get the idea, right? So Firebase is an online database service that is set up by Google in order to make the users easier to host their apps and stuff. So when a user needs a backend, maybe when the app developer needs a backend, maybe he does not know how to create a server, but maybe that's too much of a task for him. So what you can do is use the database service, and let's name it what notes app. Yeah, probably. Continue. Default open for Firebase. So those are using live share stream. Can you please switch back to YouTube? Because I'm showing how to create a new Firebase project. Yeah. Let's wait for a moment. It's creating the project for you. It's finishing now. Yeah, it's done almost. So Cloud Firestore is a NoSQL database, meaning it's not like normal DB normal SQL languages. Like there will be no tables, no joins, nothing of that sort. So here it will be everything is a key value pair. So let's go ahead and create the database. Database, started test mode, allow, done. So yeah, it will not have tables. Instead, it will have collections and documents. Collections are nothing but okay. We'll start with documents. Documents are nothing but it will have keys and values. Let's say we have yeah. Let's take an example. So notes is a collection, and each and every note is a document. So every document has two attributes: title and description. So that's how it works. You can have collections inside documents too. So let's create. Okay. Yeah. We've created the Firestore database. I think. So yeah, we can start a collection. Let's call it notes. Auto ID it. The field is title. The type is string, and let's do Flutter. Field is description. App dev value. You can save. Let's create another auto ID title, test, description, demo. Yeah, you get the point, right?
Raise the notes.
Okay, you can yeah, that is it. That is it about Firestore, and you can start raising doubts if you have, and I'll be answering them. So we have 10 more minutes, and we'll have that for doubt clearance session.
Comments for clear. Comments for clear.
So, do you guys have any doubts?